But now I would like to turn it over to Stephen Greenstreet of the New York Post. And we all love him because he supports our community so well. And, mainstream media, we always talk about mainstream media's being involved in our community more and more. And I think Stephen Greenstreet is one of those people who is paving the way. He has definitely opened the door and laying the bricks so more people can come through and follow. So thank you, Stephen. And please share with us your triangle story.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Obviously, it's a pretty cool crowd. um, okay, so just really quick before I get into the triangle story, I'm a investigative journalist. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and 99% of all of what I just said has nothing to do with UFOs. It's not until recently I was approached at the Post, and they said, "Hey, what do you think about doing a video series on UFOs? Do you think you could come up with something?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can." And so that's what the basement office is. But I haven't like a lot of folks here may have. I haven't spent like years or my life diving into UFOs. I still consider myself a semi-skeptic. I at least approach the subject from a skeptical, try to be objective viewpoint. So I don't consider myself kind of on the inner circle. I'm more like outside looking in and observing everything. But let me jump back to 2003. So in 2003, I was living in and working in Provo, Utah. And on this particular night in November of 2003, I was outside of a sound stage. And are you guys familiar with sound stages? It's when you're making a movie, it's like that big airport hangar looking thing, and they build sets and stuff inside and they film. I was a lowly production assistant, essentially a coffee getter on this set. And my job at that particular time was to stand outside this door, an entrance into the sound stage, and outside the door was a red light. And when it's on, that means do not come in, we're filming. And so I was right outside the door, kind of like a guard or whatever. It's nighttime, it's about 8 p.m. I'm standing out there. I wasn't looking up in the sky. I was kind of like looking straight ahead. The mountains there were in this direction, so I was looking east. And something caught my eye, and I looked up, and I saw a triangle of blue lights. There was no body. It was just two lines like this. There was nothing in between, just like this, solid black with 6 to 9 bright blue lights on the bottom, moving from south to north. And originally, I had been to an air show before. I had seen a B-2 bomber. So originally in my brain, I'm going, this is a B-2 bomber. Hill Air Force Base is down south. This is a B-2 bomber. And then when it hit the zenith, when it hit directly above me, I kept waiting for the sound of a jet, which is you would hear from something that massive. The size estimate is bigger than a golf ball. If I held at arm's length, the object was bigger than a golf ball, and it made no noise, zero noise. And at the point where I expected, because it also wasn't that high, I estimate maybe 2,000 feet. At the point I expected that audio to hit my ears, my heart started going like this, bum, 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 bum. And I could feel my adrenaline. I was scared. I was like mesmerized and weirded out by how can something so large be right there and not make noise? It must be a balloon. But it wasn't a balloon, because the wind was flying at that point east to west, and it was flying through the wind in a straight line. It wasn't moving, or it's straight line. And so it couldn't have been something light, or it was something solid and large. It made no noise. And I remember the feeling that I described in the aftermath was one of, it felt like a personal moment. Like it felt, in retrospect, it felt like a private moment. And Nick Pope on the show, I did an episode about this. Nick Pope brought up, he said, it's almost as if you were being shown something. you were being shown something. And I was like, that's weird. you know, but that notwithstanding, I do remember my emotions, and my emotions was I was mesmerized, I was confused, I was scared, and I'll never forget it. And it also wasn't a cloud. I mean, when it got directly above me, I could see it more clearly, and just that shape, just two sticks stuck together, black with blue lights on the bottoms. I was like, never seen anything like that before. Never since seen something like that. Skinwalker Ranch from where I was is about, I want to say 65 miles to the east. I mean, as the bird flies, just boom, 65 miles there. Area 51, as you know, west, hop, skip, and a jump west of me. Part of my brain still to this day thinks it was something human-made experimental aircraft. There are Air Force bases in the area. There are testing grounds in the area, but it's that emotion that keeps me from fully believing that it was something human.
No, and that kind of emotion is described all the time, no matter what kind of craft sighting. And I know what you mean about it not being this typical standard three-sided triangle. And I think sometimes we refer to these as boomerangs or even chevrons. So they're all kind of in the same category for me. But what time of day was this?
This was November, and it was around 8 or 8:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So
and it was dark out. There were low flying clouds. Those low ceiling clouds that move really fast in the wind. I could see the stars. It wasn't like full cloud coverage, individual clouds moving. And I could see the stars through the clouds. Those clouds were maybe 2,000-3,000 feet up, and this object was below the clouds.
yeah.
So I didn't view it through the clouds. I saw it under the clouds.
Wow.
So I saw it pretty clear when it got over me. And I remember the red light that I was guarding, it went off, and that snapped me out of it. And I went back inside where the whole film crew is. They're resetting and they're doing audio and makeup. And I'm like, guys, I think I just saw a UFO. And the whole film set was like, what? I was like, no, seriously, I think I just saw a UFO. And everyone just kind of dismissed it because, they hadn't seen it. They were in their own world or whatever. And I kind of semi-compartmentalized the sighting itself really until, and I told some close friends about it, but really until Nick and I had that sit down and we discussed it. And Nick was able to like bring out of me more kind of like emotional analysis of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Were you aware of the Phoenix Light story or UFOs at that time? Because you've interviewed Lynn Katai. So what did
I have?
When you interviewed Lynn, did it ring a bell with you when she started talking about what they were seeing there?
Okay, so in 2003, at the point of my sighting, no, I wasn't familiar with the Phoenix Lights. I wasn't familiar with Lynn. I wasn't familiar with much of beyond watching the X-Files when I was a kid. I wasn't really deep into UFOs. I wasn't really familiar. Yes, the Phoenix Lights, some of the lights out of the light structures, at least in Illinois. I actually saw some footage of out of Brazil. I think it was last year, night footage of a triangle where it wasn't a delta shape. It looked like this. That I was like, oh wow, like okay, so I wasn't the only one to see something like this. I didn't have some unique experience. Like this seems to be a common craft that has been seen.
Did that make you feel better once you found similarities? I found comfort in it after I started finding similars to my first one.
Sure. It validates your sighting a little bit. While at the same time, if you are someone like me who wants to be open to the fact that it could be a human-made craft, then it also could lead credence to that it, more people are seeing this craft in the sky. But again, at the end of the day, physics working the way physics and math works, it should have made noise. There is absolutely no way something that large, that sturdy, could fly against the wind and not fall out of the sky without making enough noise, at least with the technology we are familiar with to this date.
Absolutely. Wow. That's a good summary of a sight. And it's an impressive first sighting, I would say, as well. And they do stick with you.